You ever wonder if some people are just born lucky when it comes to money? Well, what if I told you that building wealth has way less to do with luck and everything to do with having the right blueprint? Today, we are going to break down a clear, proven plan to help you become the architect of your own financial freedom.
So let's start with that big question, right? Is financial freedom just a matter of luck? Something that happens to a few fortunate people? Or is it something you can actually plan for? Something deliberate and structured. Well, the material we're looking at today has a very strong opinion on this.
And yeah, this quote, it's really the core idea of everything we're talking about. The path to wealth isn't some big secret. It's a process. It's a set of rules you can learn and actually use. It's not about that 1 in a million lottery ticket. It's about intentionally building something brick by brick. So, where does the construction actually begin?
Well, before you can build anything that lasts, you've got to have a solid foundation, right? You have to work on the ground it's all going to stand on. And when it comes to finance, that ground, that's your mindset. It's what we're going to call your financial identity.
Okay, let's break this down a bit. A poverty mindset? That's not just about not having enough cash in the bank. It's a state of mind, one that's totally focused on survival. It's that constant feeling that you're just trying to get by, And when you're stuck there, it's almost impossible to even think about growth or building something bigger. Getting past this, that's step one, the absolute first step.
Now, this slide really shows the first huge mental shift you have to make. See, with an employee mindset, there's always a ceiling, right? Because you only have so many hours in a day to trade for a paycheck. But the ownership mindset? That's completely different. It's all about creating value, creating systems that can make money without you having to be there. It's about building something that works for you.
And here is the second, equally important shift. With a consumption mindset, you're basically using your money to buy things that are guaranteed to lose value over time. The new car, the latest phone, designer clothes, that stuff. But an investment mindset? That's where you use money to buy assets, things that can actually grow and make more money for you, like stocks, real estate, or a business. The whole question in your head shifts from what can I buy to what can I build?
Okay, so once that foundation, your mindset is solid, it's time to start putting up the framework. This is where we get into the practical stuff, the nuts and bolts of how you actually make money, and maybe even more importantly, how you keep it.
A regular salary on its own is rarely going to build massive wealth. The real key is to master a high-income skill. Now, take a look at this list. What do all these have in common? Well, they all solve really valuable problems for people or businesses, and they're not things a robot can easily do. When you master one of these, you can create so much value that your income potential just blows past what a typical paycheck can offer.
I mean, this is a classic saying for a reason, but it's amazing how many people just forget it. It really doesn't matter if you make $1 million a year if you're spending $1,000,001. That gap, the space between what you earn and what you spend, that's the raw material for building wealth. If there's no gap, you've got nothing to build with. Simple as that.
So the natural question is, how big should that gap be? Well, the blueprint gives us a really clear target. You should be aiming to consistently save and invest 20 to 40% of your income. Now, I know, that might sound pretty high, but here's the key. This isn't just leftover money at the end of the month. Think of it as a deliberate payment you make to your future self first. This is the capital that's going to power your whole engine.
All right, so you've poured the foundation with your mindset. You've put up the framework by earning and keeping your money. Now it's time to install the engine. This is the part of the plan that takes all that capital you've saved up and really makes it grow, creating its own momentum.
You've probably heard compounding called the eighth wonder of the world. And honestly, it kind of is. To put it simply, it's when your money starts making its own money. But then, the money that money made starts making even more money. It's exactly like a small snowball at the top of a really long hill. As it rolls, it just gets bigger and bigger and it picks up speed.
And this right here, this shows you that snowball effect in action. I mean, just look at the numbers. In the first 10 years, you get to over $100,000. Not bad. But look at the next 10 years. You don't just add another 100 grand, you add $250,000. And then the 10 years after that, you add over $500,000. This proves the most important point of all. Time is your single most powerful asset. Okay, let's move on to the final piece of this whole architecture. Because, look, building wealth is one thing, but making it last, that's a whole different ballgame. This is all about playing the long game and making sure that what you build is still standing decades from now.
We touched on this a little bit earlier, but it's so critical for the long game that it's worth repeating. Before every big purchase, people who are successful with money ask themselves a really simple question. In the long run, will this make me richer or poorer? And just asking that one question automatically forces you to prioritize things that make you money over things that just make you look like you have money.
And this is a really powerful point. The argument here is that wealth just can't be sustained without character. Think about it. Discipline is what keeps you sticking to the plan day after day. Generosity is what shifts your mindset from "there's not enough" to "there's plenty," and it reinforces that habit of living on less than you make. And integrity? Well, that builds trust, and trust is the ultimate currency in pretty much everything. The big idea is that your financial house is only as strong as the character of the person who built it.
I want you to really let this one sink in for a second. Get-rich-quick schemes? They are almost always the fastest way to get poor. Real, lasting wealth, it's built slowly, quietly, consistently, over years and decades. It really is a marathon, not a sprint. And trying to sprint in a marathon, that's how you end up getting hurt.
So, if we were to boil this entire blueprint down to its absolute essence, to just one line, this is it. You learn a valuable skill, you earn with that skill, you save a big chunk of it, you invest what you save, you let it multiply, and then, and this is the most important part, you repeat the whole process over and over and over again. You know, every single impressive building in the world started the exact same way, with one single brick. This blueprint we've walked through, it's not just some theory, it's a call to action. So the final question is for you. Thinking about everything we've just covered, what is the first brick you're going to lay today?